The waiting is over. We made it to number one, the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go. Super Bowl champions for the 2026 season. Hey, we'll see how it goes. Don't want to crown them just yet. There are some things we need to talk about, but this football team looks really good. And starting with the O-line, this might be their biggest Achilles heel this season, is figuring out this offensive interior. And starting with the tackle position, though, before we get into that, Ronnie Stanley at left tackle, really good, gave him a contract extension. Roger Rosengarten just continued to pick up steam as the season went along. Looks like a bona fide stud over at right tackle. Emory Jones going to be dealing with that shoulder, so that's something that could keep him out until maybe week 4, week 5, they put him on the PUP. You got Joe Newboom, figures to be their main swing tackle this season, and Emory Jones could get hopefully be able to develop this year, and maybe at some point in the season he'll be ready to go. However, they don't need to rush him out there with Joe Newboom. And you also got Carson Vincent, who I think will end up making the roster, especially with Jones likely injured for a little bit. And I could see them keeping 5 tackles anyway on the roster, and he's a draft pick too, so they can let him develop. On to the interior, though, I ranked the guard position at 29th, which is the biggest concern here. Daniel Falalele, he struggled in week 1. I mean, there's just no getting around it. And that's really been the thing with Falalele. He has some really, really bad losses where he'll end up on the ground or he'll just completely whiff or things like that. However, it's like he does seem to get better as the season went along last year, so I'm not ready to push the code red or anything like that. Andrew Voorhees looked good so far. I mean, he's looked the part. He looks strong. I'll tell you that. He looks like he's been hitting the weights. He looks like he's finally healthy and everything like that. So I do feel good about Andrew Voorhees. I think he has a lot of upside for this team at that left guard position. Big Ben Cleveland has been serviceable as a solid backup too. So if they needed to, he could fill in for one of those guys. I do think at least the depth-wise is okay. They've got some good competition. Garrett Dellinger as a draft pick too can be a developmental guy, and I do think he ends up making the roster. Corey Bullock's going to be a guy on the bubble, so watch out. If they have injuries, of course, I think he could be called upon from the practice squad. Nick Sumac, same thing, right? He's going to be on the bubble there as their main backup. Speaking of center, though, you got Tyler Linderbaum. I rank him number 2 in the NFL. It's self-explanatory. He's right there with Creed Humphrey. You can make the argument. I'm going to give it to Creed for right now, but Tyler Linderbaum's certainly going to be making a case this season as one of the best centers in the NFL, if not the best. So the offensive line, as I mentioned, just kind of figure out some continuity here on that guard position. That is going to be one of the things to watch out for this, especially on the offense side of the ball. And then at wide receiver, I rank him at 20th. This wide receiving room does look pretty dang solid. I wouldn't say it's amazing or anything like that. This is another key for this football team. Now, I expect them to run a lot of 12 personnel like they did last season, so that'll help out with when you got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Zay Flowers figures to be this team's number 1. Rashad Bateman as a solid number 2 outside perimeter X guy. You got DeAndre Hopkins also can be another outside perimeter X guy for this football team, but his veteran leadership as well can help them out. He's chasing a Super Bowl ring. He might get it this year, right? Let's go. Anyway, you got Tylan Wallace. Devontae Walker needs to develop this year. And then LeJohntay Wester. Oh, the smooth gliding feet that he has to return punts. Oh, man, he's going to be that beast, man. He's already showing up big time. And also in the receiving game, hey, he's not just a returner, okay? I want to be respectful here. He's more than that. That guy can catch, too. He can run routes. He's tough to guard. So I think those 6 guys are the people they keep. They kept 6 receivers last year, and that would be my guess. Now, Anthony Miller could be a guy, or the Dayton Wade. He's another special teams guy, possibly. I expect Dayton to be more of a practice squad candidate for this football team. On to the tight end room, which I rank at number 1 in the NFL. Mark Andrews. I know we dropped the pass. Oh, it's over for Mark Andrews' his career. No, come on, give me a break. Mark Andrews still a good tight end. And yes, he's got to, get better in crunch situations, and that's something I'm sure he's going to be working on this year. He gets an opportunity, I believe, to do that, and he's going to bounce back. He's going to catch the Super Bowl winning touchdown pass. I'm calling it right now. He's catching that touchdown pass this year. Isaiah Likely is going to be a great backup. Obviously, he's more than a backup, right? I mean, this guy is their best receiving tight end out of the group right now at the moment and whatnot. And when he gets fully healthy, he's dealing with a little injury that might keep him out possibly a game or 2. Who knows? Charlie Kohler, a good third tight end. I think he ends up making the roster, but I don't think they need to keep any more tight ends I think you keep 3 here, and you got an amazing group. On to the running back position, you also have an amazing group right here. You have the best blocking fullback in the NFL with Patrick Ricard. And you have arguably the best running back in the NFL with King Henry. So, yeah. And you got good depth, too. Justice Hill, solid backup. Hey, he was good last season. Keaton Mitchell is back. I know he's dealing with a little injury right now already, unfortunately. And that's been his thing. But he is electric. And he looks as explosive as ever. So, if you can see that Keaton Mitchell, man, that just adds another element to this room where it's like, it's danger. Because you got Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Justice Hill, and Rasheen Ali got kick return ability to take it to the house. So, and he's also another good solid running back. So they're looking 4 or 5 deep in this running back room, really. On to the quarterback position. I rank it at 4th. It was a tie there at number 3 with Joe Burrow, but I did give the edge to Joe Burrow. It's a tough call. Lamar Jackson's a beast. So you can make the argument. I decided to go with who has the better backup, and I went with Browning in that case over Cooper Rush. Even though Cooper Rush is not terrible, wasn't great in the first preseason game, still, he's shown to be a solid backup. He has a winning record as a backup, so that I take for real, and that is definitely big. So Lamar Jackson, though, we know he's Houdini and the star quarterback. On to the defense side of the ball and the defensive line. Defensive line looking as good as it's looked in a long time. I'm not saying it's Shrugs days or anything like that, but, Haloti Ngata and all those beasts, but it's looking pretty good, okay? It's looking solid. Mike Green is the truth. Oh, my goodness. So from what I have seen so far at Mike Green, watching him in all those reps, oh, baby, he looks scary and in a good way. So you add him to the fold, Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Owe, Tavius Robinson. I think those are all locks. You're going to have competition. Now, David Ojabo, does he still qualify for the international thing? That's a very good question because that could really hold him up on the roster to keeping him. Now, Adisa Isaac, to me, I think he looked good in the first preseason game. I kept noticing Adisa Isaac making plays and getting pressure on the quarterback. So, personally, I would give the edge over Isaac if they had to make the choice between him and Ojabo. Ultimately, though, let's see if Ojabo is able to stay because of that international thing. Now, I know he says he's fully healthy and everything like that, so let's continue to watch him through the preseason, making impacts and stuff like that. And then onto the interior of the defensive line, I rank it at 15th. Ideally, I would like them to do a little bit more in the offseason, but they did add Aeneas Peebles, and he should add a nice little pass rushing specialist role for this football team. And remember, Matabuki, I was saying this last season, it's just they double teamed him so much, and they just know that, right? So having somebody else to be able to at least rotate, keep these guys fresh too, because Jones and Matabuki, they're going to play a lot of snaps. Like, that's just the way it is. So, and they're going to be able to handle that, I'm sure. However, that's something I want to keep those guys fresh. You bring in a veteran like John Jenkins, solid dude. Broderick Washington, still a solid rotational player. And they're going to keep calling upon Brent Urban when they need him, right? That's going to be one of the... It wouldn't shock me if they put him on the practice squad and then call him up for injuries or whatever, depending on a week-to-week basis on who's going to be active and whatnot. So just watch out for that. Ultimately, it's a good interior. It's still above average in the NFL. My big question is, do they have the right amount of depth here to be able to be consistent enough and hope there are no big injuries because they're going to be playing Matabuki and Jones so much. On to the linebacking core, which I rank 6th in the NFL. It would easily be a top 5, top 3 ranking if it just had a little bit more certainty with who's going to be that number 2 guy. However, Jay Higgins, man, that guy looks like a steal. Another UDFA pickup that they got, and they find these UDFA linebackers. I don't know what it is with Baltimore, but they sniff them out. You got Teddy Buchanan, a guy that I like with his athleticism, can be a good dynamic blitzer as well. Trenton Simpson got to take that step here this season, show more. Jake Hummel, good special teamer, so he can make the roster. If they keep 5, then I would fully suspect Hummel, Higgins, Buchanan, Simpson, obviously Roquan. So it just comes down to they want to keep 5 or 4, and that's going to be a question mark on determining on whether they want that extra special team spot here or somewhere else. Roquan obviously a beast. It's just who's going to be that number 2 guy. Jay Higgins certainly has a right with Buchanan, and depending on how those guys develop. Simpson, though, need a big season from him. Going on to the cornerback room now, I rank it at number 2 in the NFL. You have some studs in this room. It could be the best cornerback room. I ranked Houston over them. However, it's neck and neck. And after this season, if Jair Alexander has a bounce back year, Marlon Humphrey is a beast. You got Nate Wiggins, who could take that ascension into the superstar tier this season. You got Chidobe Awuzie, who's going to be a great backup. So they have depth this year for injury, which was a big problem for them last season. Now, they're having some injuries right now with Bilal Kone and also Robert Longerbeam, both injured, both their rookies. So that means some other guys like Jalen Armour-Davis, who actually stepped up in preseason so far. And TJ Tampa, who's been a little banged up, but he can play safety, play corner. So that gives you some versatility there with TJ. And then Ruben Lowry, Mike Lowry, right? No, anyway, he's been good too. He's been another UDFA shocker, right? So they find these guys, and he can also play safety. So I think he's got a really good chance of making the roster. So that's like at least 2 guys we've talked about between Lowry and also Higgins, 2 UDFA guys that are probably going to end up making this roster in my eyes. So their cornerback room is looking really, really good. On to the safety room here, which I included Lowry in this, and you got Sanusi Kane is going to give them some solid depth as well. He's a great special teamer too. Ar'Darius Washington is a little below. So I would want to say I moved Detroit above the Ravens with that blow with Ar'Darius Washington. Now, they're still very good. Malachi Starks looks to be the truth. You got Kyle Hamilton, of course, who is the truth. and their depth with Bo Braid going to be competing at least with Lowry and Kane for that other spot. I think Braid maybe hits the practice squad with the way Lowry's playing right now. Again, it's still early in preseason. Let's keep things out, and this will be pre-recorded before their next game. So that'll definitely be something I'm watching here, and a good competition battle at safety room. Overall, their safety room looks really good. On to the coaching staff now. I rank it at number 3 in the NFL, only behind the Chiefs and the Rams. John Harbaugh. And I was saying this, I had a little optimism this was way back before Lamar Jackson days, right? Or something like that. And John Harbaugh was questioned about his job. And I'm like, oh, this could be our chance as a Jets fan. I'm like, let's go, please. Let's get John Harbaugh. This would be amazing. Nope. And they were probably like, we're not firing this guy. Are you kidding? That's just all crazy talk. And they're smart. John Harbaugh's a beast, an amazing head coach, a leader. And you got Todd Monken and a really good offensive coach. You got Zachary Orr, who's been a great defensive coach. I mean, they've developed these guys too. They've developed these coaches, and I'm sure if Todd Monken gets a head coaching job next off season, I'm sure they've got somebody in the works to replace him right now. Anyway, coaching staff's really, really good. So here it is, the final roster breakdown. The Baltimore Ravens. I have them going 14-3 and winning the Super Bowl. Let's go, Ravens! Let's do it. But I hope you guys really have a great day. Let me know what you think. Who's your Super Bowl champion? Or who's your Super Bowl matchup this year? Who do you think could be the sleeper team to win the Super Bowl? Mine's Tampa Bay, but I really think it's going to be a fun season, and I'm really excited. So, yeah, definitely hope you guys have a good day, and I'll be back as soon as possible. I'm in a little bit of a transition right now, so I might be away for a little bit of time trying to figure some things out right now and everything and moving and all those sort of stuff. So I'll be back as soon as possible and ready to rock with this season and get into some draft stuff as well. So I hope you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later.